What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Phones and Drones. If you guys can believe it, it is WWDC time again, which means all the new software updates for Apple devices, macOS, iOS, watchOS, tvOS, visionOS now, for the first year, really with a big iteration. We have a lot to digest, we have a lot to unpack, and starting off with our coverage, we're going to talk about iOS 18 Beta 1 and all of the changes that have been announced and that are in the first beta. Having said that, as we know, Apple will eventually keep adding new features here. Nothing is going to be holistic yet in this first beta. However, we want to go ahead and give our typical disclaimer here as well. If you're putting this on your primary device, be wary because it is a beta that is still in the process of working out a ton of bugs. Anytime Apple releases a brand new OS for a large number, especially not a dot increment. So again, iOS 17, iOS 18, there's going to be a substantial amount of issues. So make sure you're putting it on a device that you don't mind that might crash, apps might crash and be not compatible yet. But if you want to figure out and see all the new features, this is it. iOS 18 is here for 2024. Let's jump into everything new. Okay, iOS 18 Beta 1 has just finished installing, and there is so much to go over here. This is probably going to be one of our longer videos, just so we can capture as much as we can from everything Apple unveiled at WWDC. So right off the bat, jumping into settings, you can see it has a little bit of a different look. I can't quite tell if it's a new font. It could be, but there are definitely some significant changes here, even just as far as your iCloud ID and all of that. But going into settings, general, about, we'll jump into all this. You can see there is now somewhat of a description tag for a lot of the new system settings, as you can see here. And if we go into about, like we were talking about, you can see this is iOS 18. And the first beta build has an M signifier telling you just how far away this is from actual production. But the total build number is 22A5282M. So again, this will not be released until the fall. So that M is not that surprising, but just to give you an idea of how much development Apple thinks is still needed here, this should give you a good idea. We will actually jump through all these settings here in a little bit, but a couple of our regular call outs. First things first, this build did come in at a little over 7.1 gigabytes. Not unsurprising again, just because it does do that full install, and it's something to keep in mind. Also, I can tell you it did stay a little cooler on the install, which is definitely nice to see. We unfortunately didn't have a chance to do our temperature check, so just to keep it fair, we're not going to do it on this beta. We will do it on another one. But also now, I do want to show you, as you can see, it is all sectioned off. No more battery indicator here on where you'd find all your stuff. You'll have to jump through and check everything else out as you would in its necessary location. If you're confused on where that would be, you would still just go into here and be able to go into battery if you need in its other category. So looking at the battery health also, you can see we finally dropped down after 285 charges. We are sitting at a maximum capacity of 98%. Again, I think this is significantly better than what we had with the iPhone 14 series, but not here nor there really for this beta. I'm sure this is about to tank horribly with what iOS 18 is going to do to this battery life, but we had to do it. We had to put it on there, so that's that. Again, as you can see, jumping around, you have your action button, and you can obviously still select a lot of other new options that are now built in. You have your control setting, shortcut still, accessibility, no action. So a little bit of a tweak here and how this all looks. You do also have, again, under general, that new layout to find what you need, especially for your AirPlay and continuality. All of that's still here. But let's jump into what you guys want to see, and that's a lot of the changes, and Apple made it very centric to the home screen and all of that in a number of different locations. So, first things first, yes, finally, just like you can do with Android, you can now long press an app and drag it around and finally drop it wherever you so choose on your display. So you can put it on the bottom right corner. You can rearrange this now in a much more fluid manner. Also, if you long press an icon now, you can see we have some other options here where you have to require Face ID to even access it if you'd like. And when you do this, it will actually give you this pop-up notification saying Face ID will be required to open the app or use Siri with it. Notification previews and spotlights will not show app content. This is part of the lock-in app biometric security that they've added in here as well. That kind of goes along with something we'll talk about later with hide an app or hidden app folders that Apple has finally implemented. Beyond that, one of the other nice new changes here, if you actually long press and go into Edit Now and Customize, you have quite a few new options here as far as automatic, dark, light, and tinted, just depending on what sort of look you're going for. Automatic will obviously switch between light and dark colored icons. Light is purely that, dark is purely that, and tinted is the most interesting one that will show you kind of what Android has implemented here, and it allows you to simply change system-wide icon colors, as you can see right there. Change the hue, change the shading, how dark you want it to be. I'm not sold on this necessarily. I know a lot of people are going to like it. It's very nice to customize, but again, I think it's just Android or iOS catching up to Android. Pretty neat. Either way, that's what you get, and you can increase your app size, as you can see there. So the icons can go from small to large, and basically the difference is you are losing that tag there where it showed you what the app name was. That is now gone. You can obviously go to a colorizer and pick a specific color if you want to do it that way, and it will automatically adjust the hue right from there. One of the other bigger changes, let's actually get out of this, keep it on automatic, is in your control center. Right off the bat, you can see a somewhat familiar layout. However, there is definitely some differences. You have all of your, I guess you can call it system controls right here with your shortcuts. But in addition to that, you now have scrollable displays or icons or sheets, as they called it, right from your notification center or right from the control center for everything you need. In addition to now your power option being up in the top right, and it will ask you to reset your password or re-enter your password each time you do that. Not quite sure why that is, but that is kind of what it is doing here. Again, if you go back in your control centers, you have the option to customize it, and now you can actually tweak the size of the icons just by dragging the bottom right corner, somewhat how you would do on Vision OS. So if you want to see more and have that laid out differently, that is all you need to do for that. If you want to add a control, you can simply do this, low power mode, and it jumps right in there. Obviously, we already have it, so we don't need that, but you can add a ton of options right here. Okay, Apple did make a point to also mention one of the other new tentpole features in iOS 18, and that has to do with a lot of changes in the messaging app. So one of the biggest, most requested features that have been a long time coming is the ability to actually send later or schedule send. And if you actually click on that plus sign and scroll up, you can now see the option to send later, and you can choose whatever you'd like as a time and a message to send. So let's just go ahead and say today, and let's do 4:40 and just say hi, hello. Okay, and then once you hit send, it will schedule send today at 4:40 as it says, and you can see the logo for it. It is a broken bubble, kind of just letting you know it has not sent yet, but it is scheduled to send. Also, let me go ahead and put this down, and I'm just going to go ahead and say, hey, what's up from this phone. And you can see now also what you can do is tapbacks have new options, new colors. You can actually change all this or add any new emoji you would like to use straight to that result. And there you go. Pretty neat to see how they implemented this. There's also going to be a lot of other things. Let's close out send later here. And you can actually see this new logo right on the right side there to emphasize specific words now in messages. So let's just say, hey there, wow. Okay, you can actually, well, you can see at the end there, it automatically loaded an option for wow, or you can go in, double tap that and say explode, and it shows you at live time what it should look like. You can make it bold if you'd like, strike through, underline, and send it, and that will give you that new text effect on a word. Now, to show you what it looks like if you text that to somebody without iOS 18 running, it simply looks like it always has in the past. Nothing new has shown up for that just yet. You do also get now messages via satellite when there's no cellular connection or Wi-Fi. SMS now will go through the satellite connection, same way emergency SOS does, where you have to aim it at the satellite in order to send. Works with iMessaging, very cool. But I think one of the best new additions here is finally the ability to include RCS messaging. Apple made a very slight, subtle comment there, but it is finally here. Yes, RCS messaging still does look like a green bubble, but you should see tapping notification or typing notifications, better quality video and photos that were sent. That is now all part of iOS 18 as well. Aside from that, there was a lot of other updates to Mail as well. A lot of these are more going to be coming later on in the year when that Apple Intelligence comes out, or AI as they're screaming about. We're going to talk about all that at a later time once that drops in the beta. For now, we don't have any of those custom categories or that new digest view. It is not here in beta 1. So if that's something you were looking for, it is not here, like I said, just yet. Apple did also add topography maps in your Maps application. So if you're going around and looking at any of the state parks, those are here for hiking directions and routes. All of that now is built into the Maps app. In the Wallet app, you can actually now tap two phones without sharing phone numbers or anything like that for payments. And you also now do have phone recording. We actually haven't even tried that. We're going to try to do it live time right now to see how it works. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this phone and see if it automatically comes up or if it's a setting. So I'm going to go ahead and dial this number, and there it is. So no difference to the caller screen here at all. You can accept the call, and there is still no option right here for that audio recording or transcript just yet, which means it's probably going to come in with Apple AI or Apple Intelligence later in the year as well. Just wanted to call that one out, but it is coming soon nonetheless. We actually also did get an update to the journaling app finally. We did not use it. If you follow the channel, you know it is something that we have never taken advantage of. But as you can see here, new splash screen telling you there's a few things new here. Create a richer journal, enjoy past entries, build a habit, and journal for well-being. You can continue on here, and you can see now you can actually search through other items and all of that as well. Again, we never fully took advantage of this, but a lot of people like it, and it is definitely nice to see that it is included here. One other thing that will be coming as well that is still not here is the game mode. Finally brought to iPhone, we are going to have that game mode. Let's search for it really quick, but I'm pretty sure that it is not here yet, and nothing did come up yet for that. That is to be seen as well. And then the Photos app got a large update. As you can see here, we have all of your photos right here. So if you go to one of our recent Nashville photos that we took, it could tell you everything about it. You can, which it always has, by scrolling up, but also you can see your other photos below right here if you so choose to look at that. You can share it easily right there. You also do have new icons at the bottom here to favorite them. You have your smart suggestions to fill it up and make it look better, to mark it up, I should say. And your other settings as well for whatever you want to do. If you want to make it look like a portrait photo, adjust your auto brightness, your filters, your crop, all of that now is located right at the bottom here. Same with deleting photos, and also you have your three-dot icon right here. And now you have all of your options right there as well. So, aside from that, the Photos app also got, like I said, that filter button. It has collections, as you saw down below, and you can reorder and pin collections if you so choose. So I'll just go ahead and go out of this really quick, and you can see recent days. Let's just go to May 30th. It compiles everything just from here that was taken, and you can see it kind of put together a little collage right at the top. You can look at photos, you can look at movies, you can rearrange it here, like I said. It's all very neat. I look forward to actually playing with the Photos app. I use it a lot. I do love Google Photos as well. So yeah, Aside from that, we obviously did get that new password app. That was now added to iOS 18. And you can see right off the bat, splash screen here, easily save and fill passwords with autofill. This is cross-platform, which is awesome. You have your secure encryption and seamless syncing, as we said. Mac, iPhone, iPad, Vision Pro, and Windows PC all supported right here. This is going to be awesome and very, very useful for a lot of people that love passwords and password managers. 1Password, I can't even name all the products Apple killed during this unveiling today. So aside from that, let's actually jump back into settings really quickly and just see if anything new stands out that we didn't touch on yet. So the main settings page, obviously you can see does look very comparable. If you jump into cellular and all these other main categories, again, you have your breakdown of what it is, a little description label up top here. Same with Bluetooth and all your connections. Cellular, like we just said. Battery, nothing new looks to be added here. We already touched on our battery health in this case. Let's go ahead. We looked at general. We'll scroll back down here. iPhone storage, since that's always a concern. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see system data is coming in a little over 13, close to 13.5 gigs. iOS itself is running at right over 12.5. You obviously do have your options for AirDrop right here. Nothing's changed here at all. AirPlay and continuality. Everything looks pretty much the same here. CarPlay set up like that. Just a little different layout on how everything is seen. Autofill and passwords. This all looks pretty comparable here. Not going to go through all of these. But then you have your accessibility. We already touched on the action button for whatever you might want to set it up as. Camera. This actually looks exactly identical as iOS 17. I'm very surprised they didn't implement something more of a new look as they did with the action button and just that whole UI. A little bit surprising there, but it's all good. One thing you'll see that is missing here that we were waiting to touch on is Siri. And since it is all still in beta and all of that Apple Intelligence is not loaded onto beta 1, still the old Siri logo, and none of those new features are here. When you long press, still get the old Siri logo. Nothing really new to speak of in that regard. So, same, nothing new again, like I said. And standby is the same few options there. Oops. Wallpaper, this is going to be about the same as before too. You can see it's still curating everything for our current wallpapers and our other offers that we've had. It definitely just takes a little bit of time, since it is still a beta, to even load everything up. And then you have all your regular notifications, sounds and haptics, focus times. But yeah, this all looks very, very simple and similar to what it was before. So yeah, I know this video is running a little long. I appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back with a ton of other coverage, especially for the Apple AI features, or Apple Intelligence as they're calling it, in the near future, and definitely especially when we actually get access to some of that. Thanks for watching, guys. Let me know down below, what is your favorite feature that Apple announced today? We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.